Hey guys, happy Sunday. Hope all is well with you all. And sorry I'm a little late. I did that thing that often happens where it's sort of like, I don't know, I try to do one thing in design space and then it takes a little longer than I thought. The one thing I was doing was making I don't know if this reads on camera, but it says trick or treat. It's in metallic pen, so it reads better in person than it does on camera, but believe me, that's what it says. Hello, everybody. Hello, Lynn. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Sagar. Hello, T. Hello, anyone I may have missed. And this is sort of a morphing slash continuation of what we were doing last weekend, which started off with sort of a beginner friendly stream. And I'm still going to try and keep things not quite as all the things as I usually do when I do stuff, but I thought it would be fun because I haven't done it yet. That we could do a little craft roulette challenge because it is that time of the week. And I know that most of you follow them. And I definitely know that he was doing a card earlier. And I really appreciated that you did one for craft roulette, but also incorporated the mustached snowman. So I thought I had some ideas for this. So the first parameter I think is going to be pretty easy, which is just doing a 4.25 square. And craft roulette colors are basically rainbow, so they could do anything. But I originally thought of a couple things. I thought of purple because I have this really cool adventure themed paper. And purple also made me think of some coloring I'd been doing this week, which are these little guys, these little with his little pumpkin going trick or treating, who is really cute. So I thought I would make sort of a adventure Halloween themed card, and we'll figure out something to do for a bottom border. I have an idea, and I don't know, it's a little bit of a homage to the Craft Roulette guest, but in the same way that we did it yesterday. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is really kind of interesting paper because it's sort of designed to be cut at this midpoint, and then you get six 4x6 panels out of it. But since I want a 4-inch panel, I am just going to cut it there. And that's going to basically get rid of all of the green. And this side is a little wonky, so I think I'll just cut on this side. And see, then you get a little chunk of mountain. So I think what we're going to wind up with eventually is something that looks kind of like this. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Um, it was Stampin' Up! Paper, but I haven't seen. So what I've seen a lot of in the past, and let's see. If I grab my honeybee pad, you can see how these come out. Is what I've seen a lot of is like one big scene, right? Where you can basically. And I really want to get into these because like the watercoloring on these papers looks awesome, but that's not one. But or something like this, where it's all kind of one scene, but I haven't seen it set up where it's designed to be cut apart like that. So I thought purple made me think of green, and not just because of the potential theme we're working with. So I grabbed a card base, and basically all I need to do is cut this down. The neat thing about 4.5-inch squares is that they're pretty easy to mail, and this didn't quite cut it all the way, or I should say 4.25-inch squares, because they fit into A2 envelopes. And I just cut up my card base, but luckily I have another one. My measuring game was clearly not on point with that one, but we have more. Oops, a little fuzz there from something. 4.25. Let us. There we go. And I got a really clean cut that time. Super. And I'm going to save this piece because my thought was that I could kind of hide a sentiment at the bottom here, and then um, fold this backwards and use this as sort of a mini joy fold kind of an idea. Because the guests didn't like joy folds, and they're one of my favorite folds to do, as you might have guessed. The other thing that'll be neat is I think I can use this as my bottom border if I basically mount it at the bottom of the card like that. If I glue it together that way. And digging through my stash, oh, I should probably pay attention to you guys. Oh, hello, Cordelia. Nice to see you. Hello, everybody. Hello, Brenda. Um, and I was thinking of just inking on this to get it to be, like either purple or green. But then I was digging through my stash and found this old plaid paper that it seems, um, very Halloween. So I thought I would use this. And in theory, to figure out how big this should be an inch and a quarter, and it is. So it's nice when things work out like that, isn't it? And let's see. Oh, hello, Brenda. I forget if I said hello to you. And here we go. This is actually Catherine Pooler paper, but I always try to sort of honor through the spirit of craft roulette and not like running out and buying things. And I need to cut off a quarter inch, I think. But one thing I kind of touched on last time about I I don't know if I have any beginners here, but one thing that I didn't really mention because we've been doing Christmas projects is really if you want to get the best bang for your buck, often using a more generic stamp set is going to help you out with that. So I think this looks good. So let's see if we can't start getting the basics of this card together. But if you do look at, there's some older streams that utilize a couple of pink and main sets that are great. One is they had a stamp of the month that were cute bugs that I used, oh, I don't know, a week or so ago. And I don't know if they're still selling that one, but one they have had forever is this butterfly garden stamp set, which is really cool because it comes with a bunch of like generic sentiments that you're going to need all the time. Birthdays, thinking of you, those congratulations, those kind of things. And there we go. I got lucky on this one. Usually I always make sure to test what side my card opens on, and like it's really hard when things are square to know that. But I think all I need to do is just tape this a little bit. I'm a little paranoid because I'm going to run out of my ATG tape at some point very soon, and hopefully it's not on the live stream. Although I guess I could just go and refill it first. And how are you guys doing this evening? Hopefully everybody's had a at least somewhat restful weekend. Maybe less restful if, like me, you were doing a bunch of crafty streams most of it. But. And there we go. And I like that because this sort of brings the color of the base into our little fold over piece. And let's get our pattern paper on. And one other thing that I should mention is these guys are digital stamps, and I don't know if I have any more printed out, but I do have data similar fall mugs, one available. Sorry, that's not. There we go. That's better. Um, and they're a really good way to sort of maximize your spending dollar if you're new to crafting, just because you don't really need to buy all of the things. Whoa, my camera just died. Sorry about that. Let's let's try to fix that. There we go. That looks better. except we're in the wrong spot. There we go. That's better. And all I was trying to do was to turn down the brightness so I don't completely destroy my battery. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, see, I have that problem too, T. Like I can never remember um, which way the tape goes, so it's sort of a 50-50 shot of doing it completely wrong and then having to redo it a bit. But we have our little initial scene here, and I'm thinking I like the idea of just mounting him sort of, since this is a square card, I feel like mounting him in the center kind of makes sense. Maybe a little down like that. I kind of like that. But let us see if I can't get my sentiment down. But I don't know. I like these just because they don't run out as quickly, especially when like doing like the longer form card challenges. Sometimes that can be a little, I don't know. There's one time I think I did one with, that's a little off center, but I think we can live with it. Um, I wound up doing them with these EdTech tape rollers, which I really like. They're probably my favorite. Well, not ones with washi tape stuck to them, but they're probably like the EdTech Permanent are one of my favorite tape rollers to use. So anyway, I did like a whole series with those, and then it was kind of like, oh my, I'm refilling my tape every 5 seconds. But anyway, not something I've run into with the larger scale ATGs, but it's also not the end of the world. But anyway, I think this is mostly together. Yeah, I agree. I have exactly that same problem where the little ones run out and the big ones, it's hard to get them loaded. Plus, like I find like this, I don't know if the pink ATG gun is easier, but this one it's just very hard to get into any little corners. Where like where like this guy, like it's very easy to get into like fine details if you're working on, like say I was working on this die cut and wanted to get some tape on like his little bolts or something. I could do that with a little one, but I'd be a little bit worried that I would wreck it with a big one. Let's see how we're doing on our parameters. So it's a square. Purple and green are both colors on the wheel. Orange is here too, and yellow, and they're all there. And we have a bottom border. I don't know if this really counts as a bottom border. I mean, it's a border, but it's a very thick border. And it is the night because why would you trick or treat during the day? And then you open it up and you get your sentiment, and then you can open it up all the way and use it like a standard card. So I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about him. Hello, hugged by a card. How are you? Yeah, these I found will definitely blob off every so often, which I mean, if you're just attaching a panel isn't a big deal. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still a fan of the big ones. I mean, especially if you're doing a lot of projects. So let us. Don't think we need our craft roulette parameters since we did craft roulette, but I thought we could do something a little more adventure-y because this very nice piece of pattern paper we cut into, I think that we can do some additional stuff. I was thinking of making my favorite sort of easy card base and using the green side of this. So I think I'll do something a little along those lines and have them be a bit more adventure-y. And I know some of you have seen this before, but I think this is like probably the coolest beginner card base to do. So I will. And I think I'm going to do a similar thing, which is I'm going to just cut the bottom off of this because I really want the forest scene. I'm thinking I'm going to like trim this down and then use this middle piece for something because like just having this ombre would be kind of cool. Or I could use the back. The back on this pattern paper does have teal lin, but I don't know. I'm not like super into it, so we'll see. Anyway, in deference. Anyway, this is still my favorite current card base. I should look up the measurements on it probably, but we'll just wing it and hope I can remember. I believe it's 4.5 by 1.5, but if that's wrong, we will find out at some point and potentially have to recut things. But here's hoping. Um, and this is 12-inch square paper, so that's why didn't really do much of an initial measurement. And then I think I can just cut this at 1.5. And I cut the paper wrong. Well, that is too bad. So I think we will improvise. Yeah, like I think this one is too short. Yeah, because this is a 1/4 inch, not correct. So let us. I think this is just it. This is just 4 1/4. So I'll change my mind. I think we better do. I guess we'll do some. Use this as more of a. I think I'll save these for A2s, and I think I'll try what I was going to do before, and we'll just cut the edge off here, and I think that should give me enough. I just want to get rid of this mountain piece. Should be 3 inches. Which this leaves this kind of neat border that we could use for something later. And I have some of these cards already, so I could just reach into my stash, I think, and double check measurements quick before I recut this, just to make sure I don't do something too interesting. Yeah, and my guess was correct. Hooray. That is good news. So before I messed up the cut, so this should actually I can make this easy on myself. Let's just cut this exactly in half at 6. And I appreciate you guys all making friends and chatting with each other. That's just awesome. And then each of these 6-inch pieces I'm going to cut at 4.5, and then leave a 4.5 and a 1.5-inch side. And you guys may know where this is going already, but if not, this is my favorite make your own card base. And basically what we're going to do is cut this at 3 1/4, and it's going to make a somewhat fancy, in my opinion, mini slimline that doesn't close all the way, but or I guess I should say, isn't a complete card front in the front, but is quite nice. Did I measure that correctly? Here's hoping. There we go. But I'm a big fan of them because they're very economical. Because you can get 2 of them out of a single sheet of 8.5 by 11, and then just need to score it at 6 1/4, and you get something that looks like that. And I will do that twice and be very careful that I don't mess up do that thing where you don't use the scoring blade on your trimmer and just cut through your card case. Because I've done that a few times too. But these are pretty fun because they just go together by matting this first piece and then this second piece just sort of hangs out on the side. And I think that looks pretty neat with just sort of the ombre. So we'll definitely need to grab something to pretty that up a little bit. Let me just catch up on the chat and see how you all are doing. Oh, thanks, Brenda. Yeah, I feel like I have plenty of paper and dyes, and then people release things, and I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't know. I'm trying to save up for a better audio setup for my streams because, like, this microphone is not all that it could be, unfortunately, and unfortunately, audio gear costs money, and so there's that. But it's sort of like people are always releasing stuff, and it's always a little bit tricky to know kind of what stuff you really want and what stuff you're kind of look at and you're saying like I really like this looks cool, but it's not necessarily something that I'm going to like use right now, or the stuff that's likely to sit on your project pile for a while. I will just. And you could either trim this off. I'll probably just leave it because I don't know. Sometimes some of the charm of these handmade cards is the fact that they're not entirely perfect. I would say people feel different ways. I kind of feel like I would like all my cards to be perfect, but I don't know. I also realize like if something's like an eighth of an inch difference, like so a lot of the people I send cards to are not going to really worry about it one way or the other. And I think I either didn't cut my paper too thick or too tall, or these card braces too narrow. And I think it was the pattern paper, because normally you'd have more of a border around these. But I think we could run with this. I am actually liking how these are coming together. They feel very I don't know, sunset or sunrise, which I kind of like. So we will put that guy down, and really we have some blank slates to work with. So let me see. I am going to grab some fun. This is Spellbinder's Ephemera because I still like. I have used this pad a lot. I mean, I have used this ephemera pack a lot, and I still have tons of stuff. I really like this truck. I actually used this in a Kendra's card challenge, but I'm just sort of pulling stuff. I think lightning bugs, maybe a. Well, I kind of like the stay wild. Maybe the butterfly here. These two things. I feel like I need. Well, I don't know. That might be okay. I could always leave this space empty if I want to do a sentiment. I do like the look of something kind of hanging off the edge here quite a bit. Yeah, I really like this month's sheet load of the cards to Cordelia. I'm looking forward to digging into that a bit more. Let's see what other neat things we have that. Well, I think this mountain would do quite nicely with our truck. Maybe I'll put the butterfly on this one. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like that better. We put the thermos here and the mug in front of the thermos. I do like the lightning bugs, or I guess some people call them fire. I always heard them called lightning bugs growing up, but some people I think call them fireflies. I don't know. I think those are the same thing. And what? What are you? Oh, this is cool. Yeah, and then I think I can just maybe I'll get rid of the thermos. The thermos is kind of not, but I kind of like those. It's a bit teal dominant, but I'm okay with that. And then the other thing you can do is, I think I'll glue this stuff down and then work on this. But you can also sort of hide things underneath, which is fun. I've got a whole bunch of florals in here, so I may start doing that with some of those. Oh, hello, Tracy. Oh, and thank you for I should say thanks to everybody who's introducing themselves to each other. That was my hope. I know that I have people from different communities who sort of follow me. So if you don't know anyone, feel free to say hi. Um, this is actually related to a challenge I'm doing over on Lynn's Facebook group, which is linked down in the description. If you're not a member and like doing crafty projects or like crafty streams, feel free to drop down there and say hello. And I think I like it like that, and then that off to the side. Is this a aha? And I always like crafting on Sundays just because it's a nice way to sort of, you know, relax and reset before the week starts. This one has a sentiment, and I like that. I'm thinking maybe do a little, add a little stars using a little bit of stickles. There are stars, but this is just sort of haphazardly adding some more. Just to add a little more visual interest because this gradient is pretty straightforward. So I think that guy is good, at least for the moment, since he'll be quite wet for a bit. Maybe, well, actually, if I think I'll put the mountain down here, and then that's not glue. Yeah, I don't know, like using stickles to glue something down. I don't know how many you do watercolor, but it's sort of like you almost invariably like manage to put your your brushes into your like coffee cup. And then I like these a lot when they're sort of a hidden element here. I think we will ground this guy next. And I encourage you guys to participate in the adventure challenge too, just because at least to date, like people have had really interesting ideas of adventure, and mine tend to gravitate towards the outdoors, but there is a wide variety of ways to interpret things. Let's see. Oh, I see a rainbow in there. That would be cute. Yeah, that makes more sense, like in the sky. Maybe I'll put something over this too, just to make it a little more, I don't know, just add a little more visual interest. Butterfly over the rainbow is kind of cute. Maybe I'll do that. I still feel like something down in this corner would be nice, especially if I run across something else with sort of a sentiment on it. There we go. Could also do a tree here. And let's see what we can see. Oh, maybe I kind of want to do like because it doesn't make sense that the butterfly is the same size as the deer, but I do kind of like the deer in the tree as sort of a little cluster too. So I think I'll do that. I mean, it's all kind of natural things. We'll just assume like the butterfly is much closer to us or something. Yeah, I was thinking a tree too, like a tree in here. I like the looks of. I'm not sure about the deer. I'm not quite so sure about, but I like the idea of sort of filling up this space with a little more greenery. Let's see what else I have. I might have something. Like every time I think I'm coming to the end of this pack, I look at it again and it's like, oh my, I still have lots of stuff. Oh, a tree stump. That would be perfect. Uh, yeah, I like that. Because then it's sort of like a tree in the background and a tree close, and then we probably don't need the deer. And then I don't need to worry about the fact that the deer and the butterfly are the same size. But oh, neat. Oh, do you do your lives from your iPhone? I'm using my phone to do the desk cam right now, and it seems to do pretty well. At least, looking at how the end result sort of winds up looking on YouTube when we're all done. And I think I'll do the same thing because I kind of like that sort of make your own, make it a little more starry. Because you can't really go wrong with bling, at least in my opinion. I feel like it always makes things better. But anyway, I think those were the cards I wanted to share with you guys today. And I really appreciate everybody coming and saying hello and making new friends. I always think that's super cool. Yeah, I mean, I feel like streaming on your phone is actually a pretty good way to do it. I mean, it doesn't require. Yeah, I mean, like I know I was complaining about wanting to get more gear, but like it doesn't require having all the gear, and that's always kind of nice. Let me just give you a close up of these before we head out. Here we have our little Frankenstein trick or treating in the joyfold that wasn't a parameter, and then I really love these, like, mini slim lines. I'm being a little careful just because 'cause they've got stickles and that's wet, but I'll put a post up in the group once these are dry so you can get a sense of them, but I don't know, I really like both of these. This one is a little more collagey, which I kinda like. It's not a technique I use all the time, so it's always fun to try new stuff. Um, but anyway, I appreciate you guys from coming, and I hope you have a awesome rest of your weekend. And yeah, talk to you guys later.